All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Sunday Stock Watch, series I post on Sundays where I let you guys know what stocks I'm personally keeping an eye on going into the trading week. In a surprise to absolutely none of you, we are going to be focusing on the crypto sector today. Bitcoin has been looking very strong over the weekend, and I do imagine that trend will resume as we go into the trading week and initiate finally the next wave up for the crypto bull market of 2021, not only for BTC but for many of the names we're going to be covering today as well. So let's get into it. As always, we'll quickly go over each topic we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, TradingView, where we'll talk technicals, price action, and price targets on the following names today in this order, going down the watch list. You can see right here on the right. Kicking it off, of course, with the king. Got to kick it off with Bitcoin because the price action and just the overall general direction of Bitcoin will impact that of the rest of the sector. So, kick it off with Bitcoin over the course of the weekend, perfectly testing resistance on the current downtrend. If we break through this, we will be in a technical breakout, and it's pretty much a sealed deal, at least in my book, that we are initiating that next wave up. And Bitcoin, even as I'm recording this, is looking very, very strong right now. So, kick it off with Bitcoin. I'll let you guys know where I think this could go over the course of this week, and then we will move directly into the perfect segue, which are the Bitcoin miners. So, Marathon Digital and Riot Blockchain, my two favorite plays. I mean, you guys know the deal. My two favorite stocks of 2021, my two best stock picks of 2021. There are, of course, some other ones in here that I'm very excited about as well at this moment. But the two OGs, Mar and Riot Bitcoin miners, of course, if Bitcoin's doing good, Mar and Riot will do well as well. And on the charts, Mara is pretty much like the best. It's rare that I've been more confident in a play. I'd be very surprised if Mara does not see upside, just because the technicals looks like all the stars for Mara specifically are aligning. Riot looks great too, which of course we will get into once we actually take a look at the charts. But the setups are, I mean, pretty textbook, pretty perfect in my opinion. Okay, so Mar, Riot, then move on to the blockchain plays, blockchain focused plays. ZKIN or ZK International seeing a little bit of red on Friday. One of the few plays we're looking at today that was red on Friday, but ZKIN has been absolutely ripping, so it's not too surprising. Regardless, ZKIN looks very good at the charts. Almost all of these, you guys, are pretty much on some sort of bottom line of support, so I am very bullish on all of these plays going into next week. Moving on, XNET. So Junlei, XNET doing I wish XNET was doing better, you guys. We've been so excited about XNET, or I've been so excited at least. I know many of you guys have as well, though, about XNET over the past couple weeks. It's just a little slow, but if we do see some volume on XNET, I really think this thing can still rip and get at least somewhat close to its all-time high back in 2017 of $25, all right? Which, of course, from where it's at now, sub $7 is a very, very exciting potential multiple. And then we'll close it out, of course, with the space play, with the Mars rover that is Alternate Systems and or ALYI. ALYI having a great day on Friday. The chart looks good, and the one piece of news we have to cover today which was released on Friday as well, and I was very excited to share with you guys. ALYI confirms first of 2,000 rideshare electric motorcycles to roll out by July. Huge news, you guys. As you guys know, I do hold a big old baggie of ALYI, so this is music to my ears. And yeah, we'll go over all the names we just discussed, and then we'll close it out by checking out this article, diving into ALYI on the charts, and talking to you guys about why, once again, I think this has 10x, 100x, 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x, maybe even more, 1000x to go for that potential over the coming years. Okay, so excited to get into it. As always, before we do dive in, though, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you're trading or invested in any of the stocks we're going to be talking about. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this, and of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter. First link down in the description, $15 a month. Join a whole bunch of other people in just the newsletter and what is a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio that I do update every single trading day during market hours. All the trades I make, I update the portfolio, and then I do send out a pretty comprehensive newsletter filled with charts and analyses, just my thoughts about the trades I'm making, why I'm making the trades I'm making, and even if I'm not making trades, just letting you guys know what I think is important. So would appreciate it if you joined the Waves fam for real, but if not, no worries at all. I really do appreciate you just watching here, be a part of the YouTube family. So once again, first link in the description, $15 a month. Appreciate it, but if not, no worries again. So let's dive into Bitcoin. Again, over the course of the weekend, you guys, Bitcoin has been looking, it's confirmed to me that this like it's confirmed to me that this trend line that I had in place, which again is pretty conservative. Some people are going to be using these two touch points right here, but I thought this was a conservative trend line. We have perfectly come up to test this on multiple fronts, and we're actually having a pretty hard time breaking through it, which does show that this line is of course in play, and it is in fact a ceiling of resistance. But that said, because of just all the macroeconomic factors that are going on right now, you guys, there's so much capital in the markets that still wants to be put to work, and of course Bitcoin being the king of inflation hedges, it only makes sense that this bull market will continue, okay? So that said, we do need to break above this. If just to play it super conservatively, like at this point, super conservative would be a break above 57K. If Bitcoin can break above $57,000 at any point over the next few days, we will have confirmed a technical breakout, and it's very likely to me once again that we'll see that next wave up for this bull market of 2021. That said, until then, I'm pretty much seeing more on the shorter term. We can actually hop to the hourly right here. Let's see what the hourly is doing. So on the hourly, 4-hour Stokes curling straight up. That's nice to see. Some people may be worried about this being a head and shoulders, but all I'm seeing here is a series of higher highs and higher lows. I mean, the story, the tale of pretty much all the stocks in the sector right now, just a consistent series of higher highs and lows on the short-term uptrend. Again, you got this base right here on the descending triangle: high, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. Technical higher low, unless if we break below 54K, I'll pretty much, if we break below 54, that would make me think that we might see another try to the downside, to the bottom side, and then kind of play out this bull flag that I've been talking about over the past couple weeks now. But that said, I think Bitcoin looks good right now. I'm just seeing a series of higher highs, higher lows. It's the weekend. Volumes are always lower on the weekend. That's why Bitcoin can seem kind of weird. But as we move into the week, I do think that there's going to be a lot of optimism around the sector, around Bitcoin. And yeah, it's very exciting, especially for the plays that we're going to be talking about right now. So let's move into the single play I'm the most confident in right now. Like if you were to ask me where I'm personally feel my money can provide significant returns, but I feel the most safe and the most secure in the investment, it's going to be Marathon Digital Holdings, or MARA. Okay, so as we zoom out here, let's go back to the 4-hour, because we're going to be primarily focusing on these medium terms over the course of this week. So I think that it's very likely that MARA at least comes up to test the line of resistance on this downtrend that it began since it started its correction over a month ago in mid-February. Okay, so since then we've been up and down, very, very volatile, but mostly sideways. And I think it's just and we are like in a pretty like classic wedge pattern right here. And when you encounter a wedge pattern in a bull market, it's likely to break out to the upside or be resolved to the upside, and vice versa. If you encounter a symmetrical wedge pattern like this, again, just a symmetrical wedge, in a bear market, it's more likely to resolve itself to the downside. Okay, so fortunately, because everything is looking so good, again, all the stars are aligning, and MARA is 100% in a bull market right now. It's very likely that even if we do come up and come back down, maybe we go up, test this line of resistance, that would take us to around, by April 1st, that would take us to just about $45, maybe pull back a little bit, unless we break through that, of course, which we'll get into after this. But if we do see a pullback, maybe we come down and resolve this wedge a little later in the month. But that said, I'm very bullish. I do think Bitcoin's going to break out, and I think this week's going to be a very, very good week for the entire sector. So again, if we do break above this, so by April 1st, if we can break $45, that will confirm to be similar to Bitcoin that we are 100% in a short-term breakout to the upside. And it's very likely to me, like, this is a very strong trend line for MARA, which I just love. Like, if we do break above this, I'm very, very confident in the fact that we will ultimately go on to test the top line of resistance on the overall uptrend, which would take us to, say we hit it April 19th, that would take us to over $80. So again, $80 MARA is over 2x from here. Very, very exciting. And as you guys know, if you've been keeping up, you know that lately I've been a lot more bullish on MARA than RIOT. When we kicked off the year, I was personally more bullish on RIOT, but as the year has panned out, as you guys know as well, I do talk about catch up in the game of catch up, that these two play a lot, and I do still think it. We're seeing that happen more and more, and I do think that MARA will still play a game of catch up to RIOT. Okay, so speaking of RIOT, let's move into that once again. April 16th price target is going to be about $80 for Mara. This week, I think it's almost, I think it's very, very likely, especially because we closed out Friday in such a good foot, that we come up to at least test the top line of resistance on the short-term downtrend, or on the, I guess, short to medium-term downtrend, on the current downtrend at at around $44, $45. If we break $45 this week, then I think we're off to the races. Okay, so that is Mara. Let's move on to Riot. So Riot, a little alarming. On Friday, we actually did break a very, very significant line of support. So you could actually say that, right, like, if you want to be a little like conservative, like how I do it, like don't even take that into account. Obviously it would be broken even more. So this is actually a pretty like non-conservative trend line right here. But Riot did break below this, scared a lot of people, but we did end up closing that 4-hour candle above support, and it was pretty much eaten back up. So I would not consider this to be a break in the uptrend or like a breakdown, because it was eaten back up so immediately, and the daily candle did close above within this range of support. So similar to Mara, like same exact story. We're just seeing a massive wedge here put on Riot. Maybe we come up, I think Riot this week, say April 1st once again, where all these nice, where these trend lines right here converge. Say we hit April, it's April 1st roughly. That would take us to about $60 per Riot, which is again $12 increase from here. Very exciting if we can break above, just to play it super safe. If we can break above $65 this week, then that will signal to me that we are once again in that uptrend. And I actually think that it's more likely that this trend line comes into play right here. Riot's, as opposed to Mara, did break out of this previous trend. So on Mara, this same line is the top line, but Riot actually broke above that. And once we broke out of this trend line, that's when Riot really went parabolic in mid-February, before we saw this pretty significant correction, okay? But I do think that it's really likely that Riot actually comes up to test this and not use this overall line of resistance, like this very, very hyper optimistic line of resistance right here. I think it's very likely that this one comes into play. This would take us perfectly to, if we hit it like April 21st, mid-April, to the elusive, to the infamous triple-digit Riot, which we've been calling for so long now, so it'd be awesome to see. But if we hit this mid to late April, that would take us to about $100 per Riot, and yeah, I just think that's more likely, and I do believe this trend line will definitely come into play. Okay, so price target for Riot as we near the end of this month, or just as we move into April, mid-April, as I've been saying, $100, triple digits, and I do think that at some point this week will come, exact same thing as Mara. Again, these two are two peas in a pod right here. Very similar to Mara, we will come up and test the line of resistance on the current downtrend, which would take us to about just over $60. All right, so those are the Bitcoin miners. Let's move on to the blockchainies. ZKIN right at the bottom, like I love to see this right here. Stokes are just about to curl up. If we see a green day for ZKIN on market open tomorrow, then it's very, very likely to be that we will see a rally back up. And I think that it's very likely that we come up to ultimately test this line of resistance right here, a pretty conservative line of resistance right here. At least first, come up, say we hit it. Let's just do April 1st right here. This could happen really fast. April 1st would take us to about $17.50, just under $17.40. If we can clear that, I think it's very likely we ultimately come up to test the top line of resistance here. I'm not really comfortable sharing that one, sharing that price target, just because it's super optimistic, and I don't know how like efficacious this trend line even is. But this one I'm very confident in. I do think that this is a trend line that I'll be looking at personally, and I'll probably be acting upon personally as we do will come up to test this. So say it happens a little later in April, say we go sideways, because ZKIN, again, considering it's at $9, if we come all the way up to almost 20, that's like a 2x from here. So don't expect this to happen. Don't expect 100% gain over the course of a week. It could happen. We've seen it happen before, but say it happens over the course of a couple weeks, I do think that we could easily buy early to mid-April, see a $19, $20 ZKIN, of course, dependent on when we strike this line of resistance. If we break above this, then that's when maybe we will see this line come into play. Again, ZKIN, pretty small market cap, very exciting play with everything they're doing in NFTs and gaming and just pushing so many aspects of their company forward. I think it's very likely that we could see this thing pop off, and again, we've seen it happen in plays like Riot and Mara before, so we'll see if these more blockchain focused plays within the crypto sector do see their time to shine. And yeah, speaking of one other play that we'll see its time to shine, hopefully, because I have a lot riding on this, you guys know that, is going to be XNET. So XNET is this poor XNET, man. I don't know why. Like, everything went pretty well with XNET. Like, the earnings were good. Not great, but good, and like the sector is doing well. We're seeing momentum, we're seeing some volume, but the big problem is now we're seeing very, very little volume. So I do need to see more volume in XNET. I think if we get the right amount of volume in XNET, this thing could easily pop off and ultimately come up to test this trend line right here. My my price target for XNET is still like to test the top line of resistance here, which would take us to about $17.50 if we hit it in mid-April. That's hyper optimistic, especially considering what it looks like now, because the chart actually does not look very good now. We are in a short-term downtrend right here. But I'll talk to you guys. Let's go to the hourly quick. So topside price target for XNET is, if all goes accordingly, which again, fingers crossed, is going to be by mid-April over $17. Okay, so over $17, $17.50 is going to be my price target personally. But let's go to the short, and I'll show you guys kind of what I'm seeing here. So short term, I think it's very likely that we, at the very least, come up to test the line of resistance here. This could happen very soon. So tomorrow's what, the 29th? If that happens tomorrow, that would take us up to about $8.30 as this decline. Of course, as we move through the week, that price target will come down. It's, as always, you guys, it's dependent on when these lines of resistance are met. Okay, so say we hit it March 30th, that would take us to about $8.15. If we can break above this, I think it's very likely we will ultimately come up to test the previous support, use it as new resistance, which March 31st could take us to about $9.25. If we break through this, I think we are back to the races for sure with XNET. And again, if we do that, if we see that price action over the course of this week, that will definitely bring optimism, and that will bring more eyes, and also, as a matter of more eyes, will bring more volume, of course, and more traders involved. Okay, so if we do see that, again, price target April 12th for XNET is going to be about $17.50. Closing out ALYI, but again, we will, of course, dive into this. Always have to establish the fire fundamentals prior to moving into what is a good-looking chart right now. So let's read through this quickly, and then we'll dive into the charts to close it out, okay? It's my hair like... Sorry about that. Okay, ALYI confirms first of 2,000 rideshare electric motorcycles to roll out by July. Dallas, Texas, Alternate Systems, Inc. Today confirmed plans for its first rideshare electric motorcycles to go into service in Africa by July of this year. The announcement today follows ALYI's recent video demonstration of its retro Revolt electric motorcycle, the EV platform on which ALYI is piloting in its proprietary solutions. ALYI also recently published an update on its overall comprehensive electric vehicle ecosystem, and I did just cover that in the video I recently posted on ALYI. So if you guys want to go over that, it is very comprehensive. It was definitely a long read, but if you guys are interested in investing in this company, obviously do as much research as you possibly can. And yeah, I did read through that entire thing in the video a few days ago. So check that out if you're interested in that at all. But the update included the latest information about ALYI's finance partner Revolt Token on how to purchase Revolt tokens. ALYI, huge, has an order to deliver 2,000 electric motorcycles to Kenya to be deployed into the motorcycle taxi or bodaboda market. The first delivery schedule for July is intended to support a first phase pilot rollout of the rideshare service. So very bullish here, you guys. Again, ALYI is just crushing it at this consistently good news. They're on a tear. And as I've been saying in the newsletter, like, I truly do believe cents are going to be a thing of the past. I think it's going to be crazy to think that ALYI at one point had a sub $10 million market cap. We're sitting at $8 million, you guys. That's tiny. Again, we could 100x from here and still be at a sub $1 billion market cap. $1 billion market cap for the public markets is still tiny. If ALYI continues to make this progress, if we get listed on say like the NASDAQ or NYSE, just like if we don't become an OTC stock, which again, the little D right here means it's an over-the-counter stock. For you guys' information, I use TD Ameritrade to purchase mine, but there's a bunch of other brokerages that I imagine will accommodate you. I don't use them, so I don't know, but you cannot use Robinhood. I use TD Ameritrade personally. That said, if we can get on the New York Stock Exchange, if we can get truly publicly listed and publicly available to global markets as well, because this is such a global brand, again, you guys, this is like the Harley Davidson of electric vehicles. They're targeting emerging markets in Africa, and that's why this is so bullish. Again, they're actually getting these bikes out there. They're getting bikes out. They're taking action. They're making waves. And I'm so confident in the progress that this company will make over the future. And again, this is music to my ears, especially with the consistency that they released the video of the motorcycle itself. They got a physical product. They got orders. And again, I seriously think it's crazy how this company is valued at only $8 million. And that's why, once again, if you guys would notice if you've been watching the journey of ALYI, I think a 100x from here is easily attainable. Just because, again, like $1 billion, like the vision is so good, even the vision is worth about $1 billion in this current market environment. So that said, again, that's my kind of grand picture, but on the short term, we will just focus on the short term here. ALYI did thankfully on Friday break above this line of resistance on the short term downtrend. I think it's very likely that at the very least we're going to come up, and this could happen very quickly, to test the line of resistance on this overall downtrend. And keep in mind, you guys, ALYI's high back in early February was at 20 cents. We've seen such a significant correction. And as you guys know, the two-wave theory, patented two-wave theory, is like, especially in this market environment, especially with these hype stocks, has proved to be efficacious so many times over the course of the past year or so. Again, when there's especially because there's just so much hype in the markets right now, I think it's very likely we see that next wave up in ALYI. And again, because it is crypto focused with Revolt and Revolt token and EV focused, and obviously EVs are equally as hot, if not hotter than ever, I think it's very likely that just all of these catalysts lead to more upside in ALYI. Short term, if we can break through the line of resistance, which would be at about 9 cents. So if over the course of this week we can break 9 cents, 10 cents just to play it safe, I think it's very, very, very likely that we test this, that we go on to test the top line of resistance on this overall uptrend. Again, first touch point in early March, next touch point right here. You guys can see that. If that happens by April 1st, my price target for ALYI on April 1st is going to be about 13.5 cents. So almost a 2x from here. And if we can break above this, so if we can break, just again over the course of the next week or so, if we can break 15 cents, I think it's so likely that we go on to set new all-time highs for ALYI. If that happens, my price target for ALYI, let's stretch this out, this conservative price target by April 12th, if all goes as accordingly as it possibly can, about 2 weeks out from today, that would take us to just under a 64 cent ALYI. So conservative price target for ALYI over the coming weeks. Not conservative, but optimistically, very highly optimistic, but conservative at the same time, is going to be about 60 cents, which obviously you're looking at like an 8 to 9x from current levels, that's the kind of price action I'm looking for, you guys. You guys know that I do my best to spot asymmetric trades or trades with an asymmetric profile, which means that the upside potential significantly weighs the downside risk, and there is no play in the entire market that I believe fits that bill more than ALYI. So please let me know down below, you guys, which play that we talked about today you are the most bullish on personally, which you have the biggest bag of, which you see the most potential in over not just this week, but over the course of 2021 as we resume this crypto bull market. So I'll catch you guys in the comment section down below, and I look forward to a great week. So I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.